Good evening, my non-existent viewers. It's TVB, and I'm recording this at 7:43 on a Friday, September 20th. This is the September 2024 Skizzo Rambling. I like I said in my I made my review for Beetlejuice last week, and that was my first video in my new place here in Ohio. I was originally planning on making this video like my fall equinox Skizzo Rambling, just like the spring equinox Skizzo Rambling that I did back in March. But like I got my schedule from the zoo, which I finally announced on Instagram. I've been kind of keeping it a secret from you guys on YouTube the past the 2 months at this point as to what my new job is, and I finally got a zoo job. I now work at the Columbus Zoo here in Ohio. And the move went really swimmingly, and my schedule at the zoo is a Sunday through Thursdays. So Fridays are basically my new Saturdays. And yeah, I know the equinox is a Sunday, but I figured, it's a Friday night, might as well, make this video and get out of the house right after this, just to cut loose a little bit before, because it wouldn't really make any sense to stay out late if, you gotta be up early for work the next morning. So I thought today would be the right day for the Skizzo Rambling, because today, September 20th, is the long-awaited 20th anniversary of American Idiot, as well as personally, I got my first paycheck from my new job at the zoo today, and I got my last paycheck from Dogtopia today as well, so this was destiny. So yeah, I'm making this video tonight. And this Skizzo Rambling, obviously they're all my Skizzo Ramblings are quite unscripted, but there's a few subjects in particular. I want to talk about the Green Day concert that I went to this past August in New York City, as well as, just talk about my new job and, leaving Melbourne again and, moving into Ohio and everything like that. But I also wanted to just do a special announcement, because Daily asked me, hey, when you do your next Skizzo Rambling, can you talk about, my Flash intros, which, I'll leave a link to his production channel in the description. I'm still pissed that YouTube terminated his main channel, Daily Reacts TV, but he still has Daily Reacts Gaming and Daily Reacts Productions, and he's doing these fan-made Flash trailers, and he's casting, he's worked really hard on these these Flash trailers that he's doing, and I'm going to voice H.R. Wells. For those of you who don't know, that's My Goals Are Beyond Your Understanding meme Flash. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description down below. Please go ahead and subscribe to both his production channel and his gaming channel. A lot of really exciting stuff is going on his channel. Daily, for watching this, I loved your Disney vlog, and and I'm really glad that you're wrapping up your Life is Strange series. But yeah, with that being said, this is the last weekend of summer because, first day of autumn is this Sunday, so, I've decided not to do, a ranked video for, all the summer films I saw this year from worst to best like I usually do, because, to be honest, I didn't really have as much time for seeing movies this summer, unfortunately. Sorry, I just had to sip my drink. But, yeah. I just haven't really, because this whole summer has been really hectic for me with work, and I was at Dogtopia and looking at zoo jobs, and lo and behold, I finally got a zoo job, so I had to move again and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna do a ranked video, because to be honest, I haven't really seen enough bad movies this summer to really make a ranked list, in my opinion. But I will say that my pick for the best film of the summer and my pick for the worst film of the summer, there's only two summer films that came out this year that personally I flat out disliked, and that was The Crow and Borderlands. Which, okay, Borderlands is my pick for the worst movie this summer, which is not a hot take by any means. I don't absolutely despise Borderlands as much as everyone else does, but holy crap, just Cate Blanchett, I really hope she fired her agents after this movie. Seriously, the casting, what is this casting? Her and Jamie Lee Curtis and Kevin Hart and, Jack Black all just felt really out of place. And again, I never played any of the Borderlands games, but I know plenty of people who have, and I've heard praises for the games over years. This movie barely follows the games. As soon as I saw it had a PG-13 rating, instant red flag. Yeah, this movie was basically dead on arrival. But yeah, I saw The Crow as well. Not a film I had the chance to review. This is just gonna be my very quick just mini review for it. I'm giving this movie a 2 out of 9 stars. It's an unlikable film. Bill Skarsgård, I loved him as Pennywise in the It movies, but I don't know. He just I just didn't really feel like a reboot of The Crow was really that necessary. I've only seen the 1994 Crow once. The one time I watched it back in October for my, for my 31 Days of Horror series that I was doing. And I swear, Brandon Lee, rest in peace, he is just rolling in his grave at the sight of this. Like, again, Bill Skarsgård, this movie this reboot of The Crow, it took itself way too seriously, in my opinion. Like, it tried too hard to just be gritty and be intense, but, like, near the end of the film, like, Bill Skarsgård, like, he unlocks this super ability where it's so confusing, and he gets a sword and just brutally murders a whole bunch of dudes in this really cartoonish way where, like, he shoots himself and the guy right behind him at the same time. It's so over the top and so, like, bloody and gratuitous that I just, like, the movie wanted me to take it seriously, but I just couldn't. And yeah, the chemistry with his love interest, I barely can even piece my thoughts together for this film. So yeah, another film I haven't had a chance to review was The Killer's Game, which I saw this past Tuesday on Discount Tuesday. It stars Dave Bautista and the what's her face, Dave Bautista and The Killer's Game. Sophia Boutella. I'm stupid. Yeah. Sophia Boutella, and Dave Bautista, he's this assassin, and he falls in love with Sophia Boutella, and they have a relationship. Then he finds out he has this brain disease, he basically he goes to one of his old enemies, who's played by the same actress who plays on Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's funny, like, two Guardians of the Galaxy stars finding work outside of Marvel. It's good for them. This film had a promising trailer. It looked like a fun movie, but then then Dave Bautista was then they find out that the doctor's messed up, and that he's not going to die. He's going to live for way longer. And then he realizes what big a mistake he made. Now all these assassins are out wanting him dead. So the film had a promising trailer. Obviously, I love Dave Bautista as Drax, and Sophia Boutella. I really like Sophia Boutella. She was in The Mummy reboot back in 2017. I didn't like The Mummy, but I did like Sophia Boutella as the Mummy. I hear that she got her big break in Star Trek Beyond, or one of the Star Trek films, which I still haven't seen. The only Star Trek film I've seen is the one in 2009. That's a franchise I really should be more cultured on. But yeah, this film definitely has its more enjoyable moments. But I'm gonna be honest, I give it a 4 out of 9 stars. It's a meh film. It's it's fun at quite a few scenes, but it really just everything that you've seen this film, you've already have seen a dozen times in other films. You know what I'm saying? Dave Bautista, yeah, he kicks loads of ass, and there's gunfights, there's sword fights, and there's fun stuff like that. But then there's scenes where I feel like it would have been more powerful if Dave Bautista's character was actually sick with this illness, and this was meant to be his last hurrah, going out with a bang. And I feel like it would just be more impactful if he dies at the end of the movie, which, spoiler alert, he doesn't. There's a happy ending to this film. I just feel like this film would have been better off with a bittersweet ending. I feel like everything is with how bloody and gratuitous it is with the action scenes, I feel like it deserved something a little more bittersweet, if that makes any sense. But anyways, yeah, my pick for the worst movie of the summer is Borderlands. My pick for the best movie of the summer is Deadpool and Wolverine, which, again, I would like to believe is not a hot take. I saw this movie in theaters twice. I think, as of now, it's my favorite movie of the year, and I mean that. This film was, oh my gosh, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. The dream team. I was listening to the choir version of Like a Prayer earlier today. I was at Barnes & Noble reading books and drawing pictures and stuff like that. And I was listening to that, as well as, the entire American Eddie album for its 20th anniversary. Excuse me. Yeah, September is kind of that month that's the unholy middle between intense summer heat. Holy cow, it's been 90 degrees for the past week and a half here in Ohio. And fall pollen. There's this pollen everywhere, and my nose has just been killing me lately. So if I sound kind of gurgly in this video, my apologies in advance. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, the Deadpool and Wolverine, just excellent, excellent, excellent action scenes. Great laughs, great soundtrack. There's great celebrity, cameos, like great casting. You have Channing Tatum as Gambit. You have Wesley Snipes reprising his role as Blade, and Jennifer Garner as like Elektra or whatever her name is. And you have, and you have X-13 returning from Logan, her on-screen reunion with Wolverine, was just very well done. Like, everything about this film was just, it knew what it had to be, and it was more. So yeah, I mean, will it end up being my favorite movie of 2024, like, as a whole? I guess I'll have to find out. We still have, like 3 months to go, which is insane to me. But yeah, that's all the movie related stuff I kind of wanted to share in this video. Now I'm gonna, as I showed in the start of this video, that was the only that little minute and a half clip that I filmed of The American Dream is Killing Me. That's the only thing I really filmed from the American Idiot concert that was just all, like, on my cell phone, because I really wanted to save my phone's battery for navigating, because it was my first time taking the train that far into the city by myself, and I had to ask for directions, and I was quite confused with the subways and everything, so I had to conserve battery for, like, navigating. And also, this is my third time seeing Green Day in concert. The first time I saw Green Day in concert with Daniel back in 2017 was it was during the Revolution Radio Tour, and Billy Joe Armstrong made his whole speech. He's like, "I'm so sick of all the bullshit we see on the news. Cell phones, it's just bullshit in a pocket." And I've been a lot more self-conscious in my phone consumption ever since, especially at concerts. Honestly, I just keep the photos and the videos at concerts to a minimum and just, like, live in the moment. But yeah, Green Day's been my favorite band ever since, like, high school, and, like, I have to, like, when I see them live for a fourth time, yes, because knowing them, they have great taste in other bands that they tour with, because the first time I saw them, when Dana and I saw them in concert, was with Against Me. That was their opening act. Against Me was really good, and the second time I saw them was with, Casey and I saw them during the Hella Mega Tour. They toured with Fall Out Boy, which is also one of my all-time favorite bands. And they toured with Weezer, which I liked Weezer before I saw them in concert. I love Weezer now that I've seen them in concert. And their opening act that tour was the Interrupters. And the Interrupters, their song Raised by Wolves was released right before my internship started at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, and I was like, oh damn, if only that song came out like a year earlier, they would have played it in concert. That would have been so good, because Raised by Wolves by Interrupters, it's such a banger, and it's like, the title Raised by Wolves is so fitting, that because back then I had just quit my job, my old Dogtopia in Fort Collins, to start my internship at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, so it's like going from one animal place to another, just like what I just did all over again. I quit my other, like, Dogtopia in New Jersey for this, not an internship but a job at the Columbus Zoo. It's like Raised by Wolves, even though I've never actually, like, I mean, I got to clean the wolf pens once, the Mexican wolf pen once at the Utica Zoo last summer, but aside from that, I haven't really had too much experience with wolves during my internships or my times at zoos. But yeah, it's like the lyrics are just like, and I was raised by the wolves, I was raised by the wolves, ah, ooh, I was raised by the wolves, ah, ooh, no, 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 yeah. But look up the Interrupters if you haven't heard them. A little word of advice, if seeing Dragon Force with Eric back in November taught me anything, is that if you have never heard of the opening acts for the band that you are about to see, like, just if you're really curious about what you're getting yourself into, just listen to, like, the latest single or two from them, and just let yourself be pleasantly surprised by the rest. Yeah, because I'm a huge advocate for, like, supporting opening acts, because this time, Green Day toured with Rancid and Smashing Pumpkins and the Linda Lindas, which, the Linda Lindas, oh, they're so cute! Like, they're a bunch of, like, these, like, preteen and teenage girls just playing music on stage, and they tore down the house before Rancid or Smashing Pumpkins even came onto the stage. No, they really put a lot of passion in their performance. And I follow them on Instagram, and there's so many cute photos of them, like, hanging out with Trey Cool. And they only played, like, 7 songs, for their opening act. And and they played their last song was called "Racist Sexist Boy." It's hilarious. He's like, "Racist sexist boy, you racist sexist boy." Oh my gosh, it was just like that whole band is just cuteness overload. And yeah, they have a really nice discography too, and they have a Christmas song too called "Ooh Groovy Christmas." And I put that on my December playlist. And yeah, I liked Rancid and Smashing Pumpkins before, like, I saw them in concert, but yeah, I need band shirts for both Rancid and Smashing Pumpkins now, because Rancid, again, they tore down the house before Smashing Pumpkins came on stage, and Smashing Pumpkins tore down the house before Green Day came on stage, and Rancid was just, like, the only song I really knew from them before seeing them was a Time Bomb. That song is such a classic, so I decided to look up, like, more of their songs before seeing them. And Ruby, they ended their set list with a Ruby Soho. It's like, Destination London, Ruby, 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 Ruby Soho, Destination London, Ruby, 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 Ruby Soho. And I play that song as well as Today by Smashing Pumpkins while driving to the gym earlier today. And yeah, it makes sense for Green Day to tour with, like, Rancid or Smashing Pumpkins, and when they eventually go on their next tour, maybe in, like, the next, like, 4 to 5 years, I am very curious to see who they tour with next. Like, because, you know, obviously I'm a massive creature of habit in my music, and my favorite song of 2024 as of now is Waiting on Twist of Fate by Sum 41, which, it's such a shame that that Sum 41 is retiring, because I would love to see them tour with Green Day and The Warning, which, for those who don't know, The Warning is a Mexican rock band. It's like 3 Mexican sisters, it's female-led, playing music together. Imagine those 3 bands touring together. Sum 41 is Canadian, Green Day is from California, the United States, and The Warning is from Mexico. That would be the most North American tour of all time. Like, if you guys don't know who The Warning is, check them out. They actually collaborate with Alessia Cara, of all people, the Canadian pop singer, in making a cover for Enter Sandman by Metallica. Again, it's the most North American cover you could possibly think of. But anyways, yeah, I'm, like, when Green Day eventually tours again, I would honestly like to see them for a 4th time to see who else they tour with, because, like, hey, I gotta check all these bands. Say, like, hey, I've seen that band in concert. Hey, I've seen that band in concert. Like, when I saw Avenged Sevenfold in concert, they toured with a Living Colour and Falling in Reverse. I'm still keeping my eyes peeled for an Avenged Sevenfold t-shirt, but I have a Falling in Reverse t-shirt. And yeah, Ronnie Radke, Falling in Reverse's lead singer, say whatever you want about him, like, as a person, but they put on an excellent show. And, like, like I said with Dragon Force, their opening acts, like, that concert taught me, like, don't, like, let yourself be surprised with the opening acts, because Edge of Paradise, which I got a photo lead singer after the show, it was glorious, and Nanowar of Steel and Amaranth were just like, that was like a mini metal festival. It was so good. But yeah, I've only been to 6 concerts in total. Like, I also have seen Imagine Dragons in concert too, back in 2017, like my freshman year at CSU. My sister visited me for homecoming weekend that year. And, like, I only really go to concerts for bands that, like, I've just, like, loved and adored for years, like my favorite of all time material. Like, I don't know, I would be open to going to Knotfest at some point. Like, Slipknot hosts a huge metal festival, like, every, like, few years. Because back in 2019, they toured with Gojira and Behemoth and Volbeat. Which, Volbeat, their song, Last Day Under the Sun, is my favorite song of 2019. I have a whole favorite songs per year I've been alive playlist on Spotify. And, yeah, they toured with Gojira as well. And from what I've been told by people who were at that concert, Gojira was the best part of that show. I am so, like, again, as a Lithuanian, I am so proud of France. Like, again, the opening ceremony for the Olympics, I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding the Olympics this year, but my mom speaks French, and she's a flight attendant for United Airlines, so, as you guys probably know, we went to Paris together back in March, and I was telling her all about Gojira, because, like, hey, one of my favorite metal bands is from France, so it's like, and I was showing her, like, Amazonia and, like, The Chant, and then, like, when the opening ceremony started, because I picked up my mom from the airport that day, and we drove back to her friend's house, and we turned on the Olympics, and I jokingly said, what if Gojira plays at the Olympics this year? And they did! They played Asaira, which is a song from the French Revolution, at the same place where Marie Antoinette was executed, with a French opera singer. And oh my gosh, I so wish I had filmed my reaction to Gojira's performance at the Olympics, because I was like screaming with excitement. I was like, all of a sudden there's like, oh look, things have just taken a metal turn. Like the host, the commentators were just like, oh, this is just took a whole metal spin. And I was like, wait a minute, is that who I think it is? And I was like, and I recognized Joe and Mario, the two brothers in Gojira. I recognized them playing, and I was like, Gojira! And I was like headbanging and air guitaring. My mom was like, okay, Vitae. But yeah, that was such a that was glorious. But yeah, I would like to go to Knotfest or some like a metal festival at some point, depending on who's there, of course. But yeah, just the Green Day concert. This is also my first time like going to a Green Day concert just like by myself. Like I tried because the tickets at Citi Field for the pit were ridiculously expensive, and it's like none of my other friends were like, yeah, I don't really have the money to burn at the moment. So I was like, I remember when I bought my ticket for the Green Day concert back in December, I told myself back then, I was like, if I don't get a zoo job by the time the Green Day concert rolls around this August, I'm going to move back to Denver. But here's the thing. Even if I didn't get hired at the Columbus Zoo or another zoo of some kind, I probably would have just stayed in Melbourne. Because as the months went on, I was like, okay, I'm working at my new Dogtopia now, and like, if I had stayed there, they would have got me benefits by my birthday this October. So it's like, if I were to just like pack my bags and quit there and move back to Denver, it's like, unless I get hired at the Denver Zoo or the Shy Mountain Zoo or someplace like that, what am I really going back for in Colorado at this point, aside from my mom and my uncle? Because my mom has her new place out there now. This is my parents divorced three and a half years ago. Like, what am I going back for aside from like her and my uncle and like all my friends from like CSU and in Denver? Like, I figured like life kind of just takes you wherever it takes you. And again, I got hired at the Columbus Zoo this past July. I had an interview for that this past July. And yeah, it's like, here I am now. And it's like, this year, I had a good feeling about this year. It was a really difficult grind. I actually, I'm going to talk about my new job more towards the end of the video. Back to Green Day. Like, excuse me. Like, I remember, like, so Rancid and Smashing Pumpkins, again, they put on an excellent show. And Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins lead singer, I've heard everything from, like, that he's just a total jerk, like, off stage. Like, he's just not a pleasant person. And I asked people at the show that, like, here's the thing, this is my first time going to the Green Day concert by myself, but, like, I met some really cool people at the venue while waiting in line at the pit, which, not giving any names, but shout out to you guys, by the way. Y'all know who you are if you're watching this video right now. Like, I had a fantastic time, like, moshing with you in the pit. And, I met this girl there who was wearing, like, a Zero shirt. Zero is a song from Smashing Pumpkins. And I've asked around the venue, and they said, like, oh, Billy Corgan, he's just weird. He's a very strange person, which I'm a very strange person. I feel like anyone who's been watching my videos for long enough definitely knows that. I'm a very, very, very strange person. But strange exists on a spectrum. Like, there's a special strange, and there's, like, sketchy strange, if that makes sense. There's different types of strange people. And there's silly strange, and there's sketchy strange, where some strange people just make you uncomfortable when you're around them. But then there's, like, people who just, like, their strangeness just makes you laugh. I would like to believe that I'm the special kind of strange, because I have a very just absurd sense of humor. And, like, these Skizzo ramblings, these videos I've been making on a monthly basis this year, are, like, a great way for me to just be extra silly. I just talk about life with Minecraft gameplay over it. And yeah, it would be interesting meeting Billy Corgan off stage. And also, I made a little poster saying, Billy Joe, may I please shake your hand? And I was holding it up because I've had vivid dreams of shaking hands with Billy Joe Armstrong, like, ever since, like, high school. I've had dreams of shaking hands with him, so I was like, if I held up, that poster, would he shake my hand? It was worth a try, but, like, people were mad at me for holding the poster as high as I was, so I was like, oh, sorry. And yeah, I got rid of it that night. I just gave it to someone on the train back home. And yeah, like, So, like, Smashing Pumpkins, again, I've always loved Bullet with Butterfly Wings. Seeing that song in concert was so great. Like, oh, it was legendary live. And I also loved Zero and Today and Tonight. You know, they have a lot of a 1979, too. Their segment was longer than Rancid's, but not as long as Green Day's, which was cool. Yeah, and then when Green Day did eventually come on stage, as I showcased, like, in my little clip that I filmed at the start of this video, they opened their segment, their set list, with The American Dream is Killing Me, which is off their latest album, Saviors. Saviors is arguably, is it better than Revolution Radio? I'd say Revolution Radio is, like, still better than Saviors, but Saviors is definitely, like, it's way better than Father of All, their last album they put out back in 2020, which I remember when Casey and I saw them at the Hella Mega concert back in 2021, they didn't play a single song off of Father of All. Like, I feel like even they were disappointed how the album turned out, which I wasn't. I like that album. Like, like I said in my whole, like, Green Day album ranking video I did back in February for Billie Joe's birthday, this past February, in my opinion at least, the worst Green Day albums are just, like, mediocre. At the worst. That wasn't even like a worst to best list. It was more like a mediocre to best list. And yeah, Father of All, it's fine. I feel like I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, I feel like that album is like, it is truly unique as a Green Day album, which is its biggest strength and also its biggest weakness. Like, Revolution Radio and Saviors, like, both of those albums saw Green Day kind of go back to its roots, so to speak. Like, they played Dilemma, which, I shout out to you again. I hugged the girl standing next to, like, the girl standing next to me at the concert hugged me. I was just like, oh man, because Dilemma was released back in December, and like the past the 8 months leading up to me buying the concert ticket to see Green Day, all the way to this past August to seeing Green Day in concert, were just so tumultuous with Dogtopia, and like I was interviewed by like, I think 5 other zoos before I got hired at this one. And I'll admit, like, I was interviewed for, like, my local zoo in New Jersey, which I used to work at this past January, and they got back to me March 1st saying they chose other candidates, and I was like, no! That was a kind of a rough day. Like, March through September every year is hands down the wackest time of the year, because I feel like everything that happens sets the catalyst for, like, what the next year is gonna look like. And yeah, like, it just, the springtime was just like, oh, all this madness just happening and things like that. And yeah, Dilemma, like those lyrics, like, I was sober, now I'm drunk again, I'm again, I don't wanna be a dead man walking, I don't wanna be a dead man walking. I was listening to that at the gym earlier today. Yeah, Dilemma and Corvette Summer are my 2 favorite songs off of Saviors. And Corvette Summer, they didn't play it in concert, understandably. But yeah, I just, the songs with the word summer in its title automatically earn a spot on my summer playlist. I've been playing that song every day this entire summer. And I think I'm going to play, Gojira's rendition of Asaira every day this fall and winter. Just for the heck of it. But yeah, like Dilemma was just like, they also played Bobby Socks and One-Eyed Bastard. The tours, again, obviously they played, their whole thing this year was like, celebrating 30 years of Dookie and 20 years of American Idiot, which was like those, and also like, songs off the Saviors album. They also played Know Your Enemy. It's really interesting. They usually start their concerts with Know Your Enemy, but this time they played Know Your Enemy in the middle of the concert after they played Dookie in its entirety. Which was, it was interesting. I understand why they did it, but it was interesting. It was weird not hearing Know Your Enemy right from the start, because the first time I saw them in concert with Daniel, they started their show with Know Your Enemy. The second time, they played American Idiot first, and then they played Know Your Enemy right after that. So it was weird seeing it in the middle of the show. They called this girl on stage. I was holding my poster high. I was like, Billie Joe was like, hey, I need somebody. Someone needs to come on stage and sing with me. And they picked this one chick, and I was like, she is the luckiest girl on the planet for being able to sing Know Your Enemy with Billie Joe Armstrong. Oh man, I have to shake hands with him someday. And that's on my bucket list, is shaking hands with Billy Joe Armstrong. I've always been weary of the phrase, don't meet your heroes. But, like, I would love to just, like, shake hands with him and just, like, thank, him and Mike Dirt and Trey Cool and Jason White. I would just love to thank them personally, because, I don't know, Green Day is just, like, again, it's been my favorite band since high school, and, like, American Idiot, like, when I went off to CSU, like, when I, like, graduated from high school and I went off to, CSU that August, like, I saw so much of myself in Jesus of Suburbia. Like, his American Idiot is a concept album. Excuse me. Yeah, because American Idiot, it's a concept album, and it's a story. It was released in 2004, which is, like, during the Bush, the Bush administration. It's, like, the whole album is, like, all about, like, criticizing censorship and just, like, American life in a post 9/11 world. And, the second song on that album, Jesus of Suburbia, I'm the son of rage and love, the Jesus of Suburbia, is 9 minutes long and split into 5 movements. And, obviously, American would be my favorite album of all time. I've listened to that album, like, extensively over the years, and it's, like, I think of all the lyrics on that album, the fourth movement of Jesus of Suburbia, a dearly beloved, when Billy is just like, oh, nobody's perfect and I stand accused, for lack of a better word, oh, that's my best excuse. I think out of all the lyrics off that album, that one has, like, impacted me the most. It reminds me a lot of the Bible verse in John 8 in the New Testament, when Jesus, saves the adulteress from being stoned to death, because, this woman cheated on her husband, and the crowd wants to just, like, pelt her with rocks and kill her, and Jesus stood in front of her and told the crowd, hey, let one who is without sin cast the first stone. Shuts the whole crowd up immediately, and one by one they all start dropping their rocks. Now, keep in mind, Jesus didn't tell the woman, hey, go back to cheating on your husband. Like, he said, hey, nor do I condemn you, go forth and sin no more. It's like, again, my theology personally has fluctuated a lot over the years. Like, I grew up Catholic, but I left Catholicism, for a Protestant church at CSU, and, like, theologically, I've kind of been all over the place ever since, but I've always believed in a God of some kind. And, it's like, there's a recurring theme throughout, like, Jesus' teachings, where it's like, oh, hey, before you pull splinters out of your brother's eyes, you gotta pull a plank out of yours first. That song, that lyric especially, like, nearing the end of high school, like, end of my junior year, like, in my senior year, got me to, like, swallow my pride. I touched base on this in my, like, spring equinox Skizzo rambling back in March, when I was reviewing American Dragon Jake Long, and I'll say it again here. When I made, like, that video back in November, where I took 1 second out of all my YouTube videos I've made over the years for my YouTube channel's 10th anniversary, I'm not gonna lie, going through my old videos, like, from 2013 through 2017, even, like, some videos from my freshman and sophomore year at college, brought back a lot of really triggering memories. And that was when I realized I hate rewatching my old videos from, like, from high school. Not because of anything to do with the videos themselves. I don't regret making them by any means. I'm not going to delete them. Excuse me. I have deleted a handful of videos I've made over the years for personal reasons, but not the ones I haven't deleted already, if that makes sense. Like, again, I don't have a problem with, like, the videos, yeah, they're super cringy. Oh, Jesus, excuse me. I need to stop burping. Yeah, like, I don't regret making the videos when I did. It's like, and if I'm like hanging out with friends, they're like, hey, Vitas, we're watching this old video of yours from, like, 2013 or 2015 or 2017. I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. It's like, but I just really don't like going out of my way to rewatch my old videos unless I have to, because, again, going through my old videos, it just, like, for that video I made back in November, it just brought back a lot of really triggering memories. One of those being, like, in, like, 2015 through 2016, my junior year of high school. Honestly, if I could go back to 17-year-old me, I wouldn't say a word. I would just grab by the shoulders, just, like, shake him like this, because off camera when I wasn't making YouTube videos, because, I know, like, freshman year and senior year were like the two better years of high school for me. Sophomore year and junior were kind of tied for worst because I was really unhappy for both my sophomore and junior year, but my junior year, I let that unhappiness transcend into anger, and I started taking it out on others. And I convinced myself, like, when I was a junior in high school, again, just like the third movement of the song, I don't care. It's like, everyone's so full of shit, born and raised by hypocrites, hearts recycled but never saved. And he's just angry and he's yelling and he's cursing and stuff like that, the Jesus of Suburbia. And he's like, he's blaming everyone else. He's like, he put himself up on his pedestal. I put myself up on a pedestal my junior year of high school. And I was so insecure and so angry back then. But I still convinced myself that I was better than all my peers. And it wasn't until that summer when, like, one of my friends over Xbox Live, which I feel like if they're watching this right now, like, they know who they are. Like, they you're like, Vitas, you're being an asshole over Xbox Live. And that was when I finally swallowed my pride and had a massive reality check that I was just as full of shit as everyone else was. Like, if you live your life putting yourself up on a pedestal and just thinking that you're better than everybody else around you, and if you just think that, you're better than everybody, you're better, you're wiser, you're stronger, you're smarter, or that you're always right or whatever, I promise you, it will do you no good. Because some of the most insufferable people I've ever met are people who are just really cocky and full of themselves and just, like, think that they're always right, or that they're better than everyone else, or that their political views are just, like, ludicrously far to the left or ridiculously far to the right. But I digress. Yeah, I strongly encourage you not to, like, think that you're better than everybody else around you. And again, it's like, the fourth movement, he dials it down and the tone becomes way more somber. He's like, dearly beloved, are you listening? That's like, Jesus of Suburbia, that song, I can't help but see each of those movements as, like, one of the different years throughout high school. Because, like, the first movement, he's like, I'm the son of rage and love, the Jesus of Suburbia. That was, like, my freshman year of high school. City of Damned, he's like, City of the Damned, lost children, their faces today, no one really seems to care. That's, like, sophomore year. And again, I don't care is my junior year. And, Dearly Beloved is, like, my senior year. Because, that year was when I finally met my parents about my suicidal thoughts. And I also got accepted to CSU, and, like, we visited my grandmother that Christmas for the last time. And I told her, like, Machetta, like, just lane for grandmother, like, hey, I'm gonna visit you more often because I'm going to CSU next year. And she passed away from Alzheimer's, that May before I graduated. And Machetta, and, like, because in the American Idiot album, like, Jesus of Suburbia, he meets Saint Jimmy and what's her name, in that album, and what's her name he has a brief relationship with, and Saint Jimmy is like this sort of this punk authority figure in the city that he moves to. I see my friend Eric, who I reviewed Deadpool and Wolverine with, and a few other films. He's been in a handful of my videos within the past year. I see Eric and my Water Wars partner from my senior year of high school, which, if she's watching this video right now, like, she knows who she is. I see her and Eric, respectively, the same way, like, Jesus of Suburbia sees what's her name in Saint Jimmy. And yeah, it's like that song, that part of the song, Dearly Beloved, it's like, Dearly Beloved, are you listening? It's like my senior year. And the last movement, Tales from Our Broken Home, where he's like, and I leave behind this hurricane of fucking lies, was Graduation. And, heading off to CSU for college, because I was just like, I don't feel any shame, I won't apologize, when there ain't nowhere you can go. And, Ram Welcome Weekend at CSU, that August 2017, was like the holiday. And Boulevard Broken Dreams, I feel like my Boulevard Broken Dreams, when I saw The Hitman's Bodyguard that Tuesday, because my dumbass bought a ticket at the wrong movie theater, and I had to take a stupidly long walk from the bus to go see it. That street, South Timberline, Fort Collins, which if you live in Fort Collins, you know what I'm talking about. That street is my Boulevard Broken Dreams. I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Those two songs go together on the American Idiot album. And I've talked about this before, I'll say it again. One of my favorite memories from my junior year of high school, with one of the history classes that I took, social and cultural history, we did a whole music unit looking at different popular songs throughout, from the American popular music throughout the decades. And a recurring theme was hey, songs that reflect social issues. And on my last day of that class, my teacher was like, anyone have any songs suggested we should play for our last day? And I said, play, because we didn't play any songs in the 2000s. So I was like, hey, Holiday by Green Day, because that song's a huge middle finger to the Bush administration, the whole invasion of Iraq. And we played that music video in class, and we discussed it. It's there's a lot of satire in that song where it's kill all the fags that don't agree. Which, Green Day was criticizing, our government's treatment of, LGBTQ plus people at the time. Because Billy Joe Armstrong is bisexual. And Dookie, I feel out of all the songs off Dookie that are not the singles, Basket Case, Longview, Welcome to Paradise, She, and When I Come Around, I think out of all the songs off that album that are not the 5 singles, Coming Clean is my favorite. Where that whole song is basically a Billy Joe Armstrong coming out as bisexual. He's like, I know what it takes to be a man. Oh, mom and dad will never understand. And yeah, that song was really great in concert. And it's I came clean to my parents about a few things this summer because I finally, got a zoo job after all this grinding that I've been doing. And it's heading off to bigger and better things. And like I said, they played Know Your Enemy in the middle of the show. They did not play 21 Guns, which is my favorite song of all time. They didn't play it either in the first, during the Revolution Radio tour, but they did play it in the Hella Mega tour, back in 2021. Which I was that's the one thing, in my opinion at least, the one thing that would have made the Green Day concert better this tour was if they played 21 Guns. But again, I give them the benefit of the doubt. I understand why they didn't, because maybe they only had time for one 21st Century Breakdown song. That being, Know Your Enemy. And it's I get it. The whole point of this tour is promoting Saviors, as well as celebrating the anniversaries of American Idiot and, Dookie. So I understand, was I a little bummed out they didn't play 21 Guns? Yes, but do I understand why they didn't? Also, yes. But yeah, the whole concert was it was splendid, splendid, splendid. And at the end of the show, obviously for the encore, Billy Joe busted out his acoustic guitar and played Good Riddance. And that song was used in Deadpool and Wolverine. Trey Cool and Mike Dirnt very quickly dressed up as Deadpool and Wolverine and came on stage to hug Billy Joe, and it was just it was hilarious. Yeah, and and then we took and then after that, when they started playing Good Riddance, that's when we know that the Green Day concert is up. So we all went home after that. Oh boy. Yeah, that was just... My whole year kind of built up to that day, August 5th, at New York City, Citi Field, seeing Green Day in concert. And yeah, the August this year was just... Again, there's a reason why I'm making my Skizzo rambling in the middle of September instead of September 1st, because it was a huge, roller coaster. Shout out to all my managers and my, coworkers at the Dogtopia that I quit. Yeah, it's funny because I have an old Dogtopia now, my older Dogtopia now, because I've worked at 2 different Dogtopias for an extensive amount of time. And on my last day at Dogtopia was September 3rd, right after Labor Day. Because, I got the interview for the Columbus Zoo, and, they said, and then when they hired me, I was on the phone with my now supervisor, we were talking about, I was asking her questions, and she was like, oh, yeah, we understand you have to move, so if you get started, in September, that's fine. So, I was like, okay, I'm going to put my 2 weeks notice, right, the 2 Tuesdays before Labor Day, because it's okay, dog daycares will get swamped on Labor Day weekend with boarding dogs. I wasn't going to leave my coworkers to that. So my last day at Dogtopia was September 3rd, the same day that Danny, Shane, and I reviewed we went to see Coraline, for its 15th anniversary at the Cinemark Theater, and we reviewed it. It's up on my channel if you guys haven't watched it yet. And yeah, it's that last day at Dogtopia, it was I worked an AM shift, but I got off at 12:30, but I stuck around until 3 o'clock to say goodbye to everybody. And my coworker Holly, she's a very talented baker, and she made me a cake saying, "We will miss you." And they sent me, and like my coworker Kristen made me a little Sasquatch, this little knit figurine, because she's really talented at like knitting, or she can explain way better than I can. And yeah, like they got me like a virtual card too and stuff like that. And yeah, it's so weird when you quit a job that you've been at, because I felt the same way my old Dogtopia when I quit that place, as well as graduating from CSU. It's like you cry at graduation, or I cried at my college graduation, as well as my last day at both Dogtopias I've worked at, and my last day at all my zoo internships that I had since I graduated from CSU. And I asked my therapist about this. Was it happy tears or sad tears? Am I crying happy tears, like, hey, thank God that it's finally over? Or am I crying sad tears, like, hey, I'm gonna miss this place and the routine I've built here? And he said, oh, why not cry for both? It's like bittersweet tears, like end of the road, like last day tears. And yeah, like I said this in my August Skizzo rambling. It's like, this new job I had, like, I'm not gonna fuck this up. And yeah, it has been, because it's been over a year since I've been at a zoo, because like I entered my internship at Utica Zoo August of last year, and lately it has been like, I'm still learning the ins and outs of everything. So, but like my new job at the Columbus Zoo is like, I'm a seasonal employee at the Congo Expedition. So basically, I assist the keepers that work with gorillas and bonobos, pygmy chimpanzees, and colobus monkeys, and mandrills, and okapis, and leopards, and their Bornean orangutans. Because, like, orangutans are not from Africa, they're from Southeast Asia, but, like, the Congo section of the zoo and the Australia and the islands sections of the zoo are right next to each other. And, orangutans, there's 3 species, Tapanuli orangutans, Sumatra orangutans, and Borneo orangutans. They're all from islands in Southeast Asia, so them being in the Australia and the islands, kind of makes sense. So, yeah, like, the Congo department of the Columbus Zoo looks after the orangutans because, hey, orangutans, gorillas, bonobos, they're all great apes. And in exchange, the Australia department looks after the African birds in the Congo section. So every morning, I clean the windows, or like I go off to one of the exhibits and like I clean the holding areas and the yards and like the exhibits, and I also do a lot of dishes, and I make diets, enrichment, and stuff like that. We handle browse and things. And it's a seasonal position, meaning like I'm going to be here at the Columbus Zoo for a total of 1,508 hours, which is like 9 to 10 months, give or take. And when those hours are up, I get a 2-month layoff period, like a grace period in between gigs at the zoo, and I'm back for another 10 months. Like, there are seasonals. There's one seasonal in my department who's he's been here for 3 years at this point, just trying to be full-time. And you know what? Part of me is weirdly content with just like, hey, if Columbus is where I like, hey, this is my new home, these are my new people, this is where I make my stand, I'm just like, hell yes. I'm gonna have to find a second job though that will give me benefits, because I turned 26 in October. I'm gonna be blanked on my family's medical insurance plan. But yeah, I have it's been 2 weeks. I have a really great feeling about this, viewers. My supervisor and the keepers in the Congo section, they're all really nice. And also more good news, like we have at least one baby for all 3 of our great apes. We have 2 baby gorillas, a baby orangutan named Clementine. Her mother's name is Kali, and her dad's name is Sulongo. And there's 4 orangutans. There's also Dumplin, who's like the cute old lady of the group. And there's a baby bonobo too, named Bob. His mom's name is Faith. Oh, they're so cute. And one of our okapis are relatives of giraffes. One of our okapis is pregnant too, and in other departments, because Sunday through Tuesday I work full days from 7 to 4, but Wednesdays and Thursdays are my half days, so I get off at 1 instead of 4. I kind of spend the rest of the afternoon just walking around the zoo, and 2 of the Asian elephants are pregnant at the zoo, because I visited the Columbus Zoo once with my family when I was 14. Back then, their Amur tiger mother had 4 cubs, and my mom, my sister were just so adored by this female tiger with her 4 cubs. And she stood up, went out in the sunlight, all her cubs following her, took a big stretch, and she was just like, hey, I am the queen. This is my kingdom. You're all just paying me rent. And I saw that tiger again. Her name is Mara. She's 18 years old now, which is really old for tigers. And, she's had 2 other litters since then, but obviously she's still reproduced now, so she kind of is just, like, in retirement, basically. And, yeah, again, the Columbus Zoo, I also got I got some 3 really great videos of, like, animals, not from my section, of course, but from other sections that I plan on uploading on my channel in the next, like, week or so. And, yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but it's been a blast so far the past 2 weeks here in Ohio. And yeah, it's gonna be, there's a lot of challenges lay ahead. I'm still gonna do my top 9 week this October. Thanks again for everyone who voted my Would You Rather Wednesday poll for that. And yeah, I'm gonna do my best to upload videos at least once a week. Maybe I'm gonna shoot for like at least twice a week. I think that's not a bad goal to have. And yeah, I think that just about wraps up for this Skizzo rambling. Thank you all so much for watching this video. And again, I'll leave Daily Reacts' productions channel in the description down below. Don't forget to subscribe to that. And yeah, you guys have a good night. Stay beastly.